live energy update here from transCODES. Today is June the 10th. And this energy update and the practical tips are for the coming week, June 11th till June 17th. I'm going to start the energy update with just sort of a quick review of last week. Last week was quite an interesting week, and most of you energetically sensitives and empaths may have noticed this. There was a huge shift yesterday. So full moon energies, they did it again. They brought in an intensification and amplification. And let's have a look at how this is playing out for us. Alright, so next week is going to be quite challenging here. We had all week, this week, to contextualize, to learn, to bring things into context, to connect the dots, to really see where our life is headed, where we're at the moment, and what we need to move on. And some of you may have discovered, let's put it this way, some patterns in your life that are not really conducive for your goals. And so we will have a chance to work on this now. The energy report for this week, 11th till 17th of June, is called the Healed Healer. And since we moved past the Healed Warrior, which was the theme of last week, all these big emotions and venting and huge sort of dramas within ourselves, we're now going into a place where all this is calming down a bit, where it needs to be contextualized in a way that we can use this for our manifestation potential. All right, so one of the things that I want to point out, and I will get to this in detail in the energy tips, is that you may have felt a little bit of a relapse this week. The things that you've thought you've worked through, and again, I say this over and over again, to sort of accompany us for the rest of the year, kind of. So not just I feel like a broken record, but also the messages that I convey here in those energy updates. But bear with me. This week can be very interesting for some of you, and judging by the energies that are coming in right now, it feels like a shift. It feels like a new beginning, like things can really take a turn now. Now, unfortunately, on a geopolitical and maybe economical or planetary level, this can mean that we're also heading into a crisis. But as always, you know this about me, a crisis is an opportunity to grow, is an opportunity to integrate. And so I really want to remind everyone that whatever you're feeling right now is a development into the right direction, into resolution. All right, so when it comes to our economic or political system, it's obvious it's been going on since the beginning of the year. It's about power struggles. It's about old power structures redefining itself to avoid the word collapse. This will most likely play out in our currencies and the monetary values of things that we have taken for granted. We have not really questioned so far. But last week's energies brought in this need to question, this need to really understand the connections here and how things go together. There was a lot going on here in the United States last week, and I can say this, I don't monetize my videos, so this is one of the reasons why I don't use ads or anything. The things that are going on right now are really, really forcing us to look at what is going on. All right, I talked about this last time, how these illusionary truths, how these I'm not talking about fake news, I'm talking about things that we take for granted, our system, how they're really deteriorating right now. and how they've actually never really been healthy. This has been going on for probably like 30 years. So right now is a very good moment to consider, even if you don't have much money, to consider looking around. Look around what is going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of rah-rah right now on a political arena. But is this really what is going on? What's going on behind the scenes? Connect the dots. There have been changes to our regulation here in the banking system. There have been changes made in some of the regulatory systems for our economy. And how do you think this is going to play out on the worldwide economy? Same as some of the political developments in Europe. So if you haven't yet, this is a really good time to look at cryptocurrencies and to investigate those new technologies. I know for most of us here, the old guard, this is not really an attractive subject. But if you don't want to lose all your savings or things that you have been working for real hard, then consider this. There is no reason to trust more in the fiat money that we have around than in the electronic money that is coming from non-regulated, open platform idea, from an idea that has more integrity than all our economic systems combined. However, the idea that we just have money on our phones may be a little strange for many of you and unsafe, but the truth of the matter is the way our currencies and our economy were regulated and how they are being controlled has never been safe either. So ask yourself which team you want to be on, really. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about politics anymore. The main thing, though, is to understand that this entire energetic wave that is coming in right now shows us that there is a new beginning. And this is something, if we want to use this for our creativity, for our inspiration, for new endeavors, for, let's say, entrepreneurship, starting something new, starting something we always wanted to do, then we got to look at the bigger picture. The irrationality, the agitation, the anger, the rage that we had been dealing with here over the past week is now calming down. You may have to go back to some of your family members or partner and apologize that you were going through certain things. But these big emotions, they always come out when there are things going on that are questioning or that are sort of rattling our cage, that are rattling on our roots. And so for the next week, the biggest danger is to lose our roots, to lose our understanding of where we're from and why we came here. Now, not all of us have that natural or intuitive sort of connection, say, with karmic aspects that I mentioned last time. And we will discuss the whole idea of karmic aspects here in the energy tips a little bit, because I feel the need to talk about karmic relationship stuff. That has been coming up a lot this week, and we really need to work on the resolutions now. This next week will be perfect for that. But when it comes to purpose in life, and you know, especially when you're younger, trying to figure out what it is that you really want to do, how you want to express yourself, you need to know where your roots are. You need to understand your place here. And this is something that requires you to work with some of the deeper emotions that you have. So most of us understand the psychological view, which is, okay, there's sociology, there's psychology, there are things that are rooted in our childhood, traumas, and so forth, that of course determine some of the ways we see the world, some of the ways how we approach our life, how we approach our expression. But then there are things that we bring into this life, and it's not just limited to past lives, guys. the whole past life thing is a potential trap for our ego, because we can draw a lot of specialness out of, well, I was Jesus in my past life, or I was Buddha in my past life, or I was this leader or that leader. I recommend not to go there for too long. I don't think it's a mistake to do things like past life regressions, or have this read by an energy healer or another practitioner. But I don't think that it's the primary way of seeing our purpose here. The primary way of seeing our purpose here is to look at where we are right now. What is the body that I was incarnated into? What's the society that I was incarnated into? The family? What are the talents that I have? If you really want to use your talents now, then you need to understand why they're there and what they're good for. And this includes, of course, shedding some light in those areas where, I would say, where we misplaced some of our talents, where we misused some of our talents. So this is where the power struggles come back in that I mentioned here at the beginning, and this is also where some of our, let's put it this way, dysfunctional relationships come from. Our relationships are something that we pick based on the karmic propensity that we bring into this lifetime. And some of those are easy to figure out. I mean, if I had, say, a very controlling father and a over-emotional mother, chances are that I'm going to pick a partner that is resembling either this controlling father or this emotional mother, to relive those wounds and those inadequacies that I experienced growing up, and to heal them. This is the concept of karma. The concept of karma is that we are born into a situation that allows us, for optimal circumstances, to heal whatever circumstances or whatever wounds need to be healed. Now you may say, okay, how do we know before we're born what kind of traumas we're going to experience as a child? Well, that's easy. We're going to experience exactly those traumas, exactly those things that we need to experience in order to get into that place that some of you may find yourselves right now, which is, if I don't want my life to repeat over and over again, if I don't want to keep attracting the same type of guys, the same type of girls, the same type of relationships, the same type of work issues, the same type of repetitive, dysfunctional, or often straight up toxic experiences in my life, I need to do something. I need to take action. And what holds us back from taking action is that we often don't understand the connections here. 85% of you, including myself, will end up in a relationship or marry a person who resembles either your mother or your father, and who allows you to relive some of your childhood traumas. And this was one of the issues last week, okay? Last week we had second and third chakra issues, trying to break through here in our heart area. A lot of you people probably had digestive problems, stomach issues. Really strong last week. Those big emotions, if they are not transcended, as we call it in energy work, if they are not healed, they begin to dominate us. They begin to dominate our energy, all our actions, all our thoughts, our sentiments, and expressions. And since we're moving into a new era of embodying our spirituality, embodying our physical, emotional, mental, and energetic reality, it means that we have to be sure about what we are manifesting. We have to know where we're from, what we brought with, and how we express ourselves. The time of victimhood, the time of blaming others, blaming the partner, blaming the mother, blaming The system is over. If we continue blaming others, we are not only refusing to take responsibility for our life, but we're also giving up our power. We're externalizing our power. So each and every one of you right now, and I know this makes you feel uncomfortable probably because I have this like sort of directness when I talk about this. If you catch yourself justifying, if you catch yourself blaming things onto your boyfriend, onto your husband, on somebody's ex, or like your job or your boss or whatever, you are refusing to take responsibility for your part in it. And this tells me that you're not fully aware of why you came here and how you can resolve this. So from an energetic standpoint, this means that there are things stored in your system that are holding you back from actually even being able to see this. So don't beat yourself up now if you find yourself in that sort of victim place a lot. This is the connection here with collective energies. Our collective currently supports victimhood. I mean, people get paid for telling their victim story on TV or whatever. Everybody tries to top everybody else. Well, my drama was that bad. Oh, my drama was even worse. And we get validation for it. This is where collective programming, this is where the matrix goes wrong. So you got to understand that this is part of that illusion that I'm talking about. So this is the problem. Stop trying to be better, to work harder on yourself, to you know, turn every stone and run into these loops of self-doubt and questioning yourself all the time. It's not always you. It's also the system. The system promotes this right now. And so if you want to break through some of those collective ties, some of those really low vibratory collective things, then you got to understand that whatever is promoted by the system, and this includes, of course, social media and movies and songs and so forth, is most likely not very conducive for you. All right, so here's a question. First off, and this is a really cool question. Well, how do I renew my energy? So last time I talked about clearing a lot, energetic healing and energetic clearing. So if you weren't here last Saturday night, please look at the recording or click on the energy report, the energy update for last week. I explained how we can clear our energy, and I suggested that you do like a physical, that you start with a physical clearing, with a physical detox. All right, so we all understand how we have to take showers and whatnot to clear the residue of everyday's sort of what's going on physically and emotionally, mentally as well. But when it comes to energetic residues, people often don't understand that just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. Or just because others can't see them. You may feel them, but others are not aware of it. So we have to sort of start building a daily energetic clearing routine. And I elaborated on that last week, how you can use sort of a simple 3-day reboot. Clear your system out. Clear your liver, clear your lymphatic system, just so that your own inner self-healing energies have a chance to reboot, to reactivate. All right, so that's the quickest answer to how do I renew my energy. In order, though, to really clear energetic ties, which is much more difficult because they're not in the visible, and they're usually what most people don't know. We don't just have physical chakras, we also have chakra fields, the consciousness chakras, or whatever the terminology is a bit controversial here. But those are usually located sort of in our energy field around us. It doesn't really matter how you see or if you can see your own energy. You can connect with those energetic attachments through your heart. So this is why there's so much talk about heart consciousness and meditation and so forth, because connecting with your heart is what enables you to feel rather than, well, to figure things out. So you don't have to see energies, you don't have to see things like energetic attachments. I mean, I train energy workers to be able to see them, and that as a professional helps you to gain additional information. But for all of us here, it's not needed to really have this sort of visual confirmation. That's part of the old paradigm, guys. That's part of the old beliefs. I only believe in what I see. The new paradigm is, I only believe in what I can feel. And why is that? Because what I can feel through my heart has a built-in truth detector. What I see can be manipulated, can be controlled, can be projected onto me. It can also trigger my own ego and make me want to see things or make me not want to see things. But if I can learn how to trust in the power of my heart and reclaim that power for myself, the power of truth, I have a constant online truth detector going on. Here's another question. Where to draw energy? And I'm not sure what you mean with draw energy, but I think what you mean, and please correct me, is what we can use as sources of energy. Is that correct? So the source of our energy is from within. And if you have the time, read the energy forecast that I did for this year, because this whole entire year is about our source of energy. And it also plays into the aspect of the roots, knowing where our roots are. We need to know where our roots are in order to be able to identify our source of power. But the most important thing is to understand that the source of power, our power, is within ourselves. It does not come from the outside. And so externalizing our power to our partner, to the money on our bank account, to whatever, the team we're cheering for, the place, the nation we live in, or the gender we are, is futile. There's no power in this. It's externalized. It depends on others. It depends on the energetic weather. It depends on, what is being said in social media, the number of likes you get, how nice your partner is playing along, or your kids for that matter. It has no power. It comes from the outside. So your source of power is within yourself. And again here, I'm not just saying this sort of from an esoteric standpoint. This is something we can actually observe here as energy workers and energy healers. The stronger the connection to your own heart, the stronger your connection to your own power, and the more power your expressions have, the healthier, the younger, the prettier, the whatever you name it, the more successful you will feel, because you are in charge of your power. Now, being in charge of your power does not mean being able to control your life or others. That's, again, part of the old paradigm, the solar plexus paradigm. The solar plexus paradigm is that we want to overpower, that we want to make things go our way. It has to do with self-gain. This is why most people nowadays have this super enlarged third chakra. And this is also why most relationships go wrong. Because people come together, think they're in love, based on solar plexus projection of love. It's linked to control and linked to power. And usually that's an overcompensation for, well, actually not feeling in power, for not feeling, for feeling undeserving, for feeling a lack of self-value, for having a bad self-image. And so we need that energy to come from the outside in. And that makes us dependent. not just in relationships. It makes us dependent in our entire approach to life. And that's kind of like the problem with expressing our full potential. Our full potential can only be expressed if we know what our source of power is. Okay? Let me look at your questions here. All right, I work 10 hours and I do not find time to rest. And I wake up in the morning angry. Basically what I hear you say is that you can't really spend the time on working with yourself. Well, I'm sorry to say, but this falls directly into the category that I mentioned earlier. It's a form of blaming. It's a form of finding justifications and excuses. It's your life. It's about you. Connecting with your heart does not take long. Connecting with your heart is a choice. It's an alignment. It's something that you can do when you wake up, or set your alarm 10 minutes earlier. Learn how to meditate. Learn how to surround yourself with things that you love, and focus on things that express who you truly are. Maybe your job is not the right job for you. If you work a job that does not allow you any space for yourself, or say for love, for self-love or others, then this may not be the right job for you for the future. Here's another question. Thank you, David. I feel like I'm in the beginning to see other dimension, and it's getting easier to focus and unite the images into a 3D perspective. Okay. Do you have a question? It's something that at transCODES here, what I teach people to do. I teach people visioning, I teach people contextualizing, interpreting, and increasing their perception. But the way this works is much different from what people think. We don't go and feel like all special about astral traveling and the cool stuff that we see. Quite frankly, as long as we can't really differentiate what's true, or let's better say discern what's true from our heart, most of the stuff that we see is part of our imagination, is part of our mental body, if you will. This doesn't mean that it's a useless undertaking. On the contrary, for most of you people who are waking up to energetic sensitivity, I strongly recommend to really learn how to deal with energies and how to integrate this into your 3D vision or into your 3D perspective. So that's a great way of becoming more confident energetically. And the reason why this is good, David, is because it allows you to be more sort of empowered and be more like you can own your own energetic reality. It makes you more integrous from an energetic standpoint. And by the way, this is also something that makes you more protective from an energetic standpoint. That is, if you are aware and if you know how to discern your ego aspects. All right, so ego aspects is kind of like the thing that needs to happen here now, not just in this week, of course. This is why most of us are here in this 3D incarnation, but especially this week, the healed healer. Okay, the healed healer means that we have to not just identify, but also begin to really work, to really take action on all these hidden selfishness, hidden self-centeredness, self-loathing, and all this victimhood stuff and so forth, the victimizer, that all plays into this. So this is a quite complex subject, and if you want to know more about this, then you're going to have to read the update that comes with this video once I edited it. Because being in that place of self-gain that is often hidden to us because it expresses in our hidden payoffs, in those secret pleasures, in vengeance seeking, in disdain, in projecting negativity towards others, even venting. So last week a lot of people had a big blowout. All right, and there's a self-gain behind the blowout. Of course, we all need to release energies when they are too strong. But what happens to the person that I'm projecting this onto, that I'm dumping this onto? And I know that most of you who are listening here are probably more sort of on the absorbing side of things. You know, you probably feel like a victim of energetic vampires or energetic projectors or narcissists, for that matter. And this was one of the subjects that I picked here for our live stream today, because I really wanted to shed some light in some of the misconceptions here. So yes, I know I catch a lot of negativity, and I catch a lot of criticism for being so bald and for being so direct. But I do really need to point out that this whole notion that is going around right now with empaths being the victims of narcissists is total BS, guys. All right? Now, if you get angry at me right now, that's okay. Hear me out, though. Okay, what is an empath? Let's move back. Last week we talked about this. Okay, an empath is a person who has an energetic sensitivity. So last week I defined that not every energetically sensitive person is an empath automatically. It has to do with how a person contextualizes things. So an empath typically contextualizes other people's emotions, other people's energies as something that is okay for them to be around, and often feels inclined to go with it, and to allow that person to, like, say, release those in terms of talking about things and trying to be of service. Okay, so an empath is someone who contextualizes other people's energies as something that they kind of need to work through. All right. An empath is also someone who's very prone to absorbing other people's energies because of that, because of the simple exposure. So we're exposing ourselves to other people's energies, and therefore, of course, we are in more danger. That's just like, you know, walking through an area where there's a war zone and people are shooting. I mean, you know, it's just more likely you get shot. All right, so there's two strategies you can deal with this as an empath, and that is, one, you either stop exposing yourself, which is what some of us choose. A lot of us have chosen to, like, cut ourselves off from our empathy, from our energetic sensitivity, and this is part of a lot of trauma and a lot of pain in many empaths. And the others have developed some kind of spiritual alignment along with this, and say, okay, you know, there must be a reason why I'm energetically sensitive, why I'm an empath, and maybe this means I'm supposed to be a healer, I'm supposed to do this, and I'm supposed to be of service. And some of us are really born with this. This is not really a mental concept. I know that I was born with this idea that I don't really want to harm anyone, or I don't really want to do anything to somebody else that I don't want to be done to myself. That was like sort of my prime directive. Now, does this mean that I never harmed anyone? Of course not. There's, I'm sure, a whole bunch load of people out there, especially past relationship partners, who will swear that I was very harmful to them. So this has to do with karmic stuff that I'm going to weave into this whole idea with empaths and narcissists. So anyway, so as an empath, we just have that aptitude to expose ourselves and to be hit more, to absorb more energies. All right, but it's part of what we choose, consciously or unconsciously. All right, this has to do with owning that part of our journey. What is a narcissist? All right, I know there's so much going on about empath and how special this is and how cool this is. You can hear this from some of the sarcasm in my voice, that I don't really think that it's very special. In fact, last week we discovered together that it's a good 20% of our population who classifies as energetically sensitives. But nobody really talks about narcissists. All right, well, first of all, narcissism has actually been declassified as not being a personality disorder anymore. So that's actually quite interesting. So if you're a psychologist, you know this in the Handbook for Psychologists. Narcissism used to be classified as a sort of pathological or over or exaggerated self-centered sort of megalomania, for instance, and some of the traits that would be called as extremely egotistical. This is not considered a mental disorder anymore, or at least not a personality disorder anymore. And why is that? What do you think? It's because probably the other half of all these energetically sensitives nowadays qualify for narcissists. So what is going on with narcissism here? I don't have a PhD in psychology, and please correct me, please educate me if you have something to contribute here. But from the energetic point of view, a narcissist is someone, besides the labeling, of course. The labeling itself is part of the old paradigm as well as old world. But in order to understand and contextualize some of these things, we have to look at those labels. So a narcissist is an energetically sensitive person gone wrong. An energetically sensitive person who did not, or was not able to shut down their empathy, their energetic sensitivity when they were in a trauma situation, often in childhood. They were not able to cope with it. It was also not someone who could contextualize any of the experiences as learning experience, or as sort of part of the greater purpose. And so this person, which could be anyone, you and I, used an overextended and over sort of focus on him or herself to cope with the situation. It's almost like a protective measure. So when we talk about coping, and those of you who work with me know that coping is a neutral word. It's really just a sort of a way our system deals with things, you know, and whatever the situation, the circumstances allow. We're going to choose coping mechanisms that are most beneficial for us in that moment. The problem with our coping mechanisms, and some of you who have experiences with substances, with alcohol, drugs and so forth, can probably relate to this. That if we stick to our coping mechanisms unreflectedly, and if we get stuck there, and if we never improve the quality, if we never really work on those things, then we become dependent. So what is a narcissist in that context? A narcissist is someone whose coping mechanism is the validation, the approval, the love, the attention from outside, and has made himself depend on it. And as a matter of survival, this person will do anything in its power, in his or her power, to get that kind of energy that is externalized. So we talked about externalization here a few minutes ago. So when our source of power is outside of us, then we become dependents. And a narcissist is just sort of the flip side of the coin, the flip side of energetic sensitivity. It is someone who is a very good energy reader, who knows how to use other people's emotions, other people's projections, even for their own self-gain. But underneath all that is a very hurt person who is never able to really heal these traumas. So I want you empaths to really go into empathy and see this. And so what's the attraction between empaths and narcissists then? Well, that's because they're basically both of the same nature. They attract each other because they represent the other side of the coin. So does this mean an empath is better than the narcissist? Because the empath usually ends up being the doormat, ends up being the victim? Think about it. Why do you fall for those love bombs? for this exaggerated, oh my God, you're so special, you're the best thing that could have happened to me in my life, you're the one and only, and being put on the pedestal. How come you're falling for that? Can you not feel this in your heart, that this is too much? And then all the gaslighting and the crazy making. What makes you stay there? What makes you feel attracted to a person that puts you on a pedestal in one moment and destroys you and annihilates you and your friends in front of everybody, who tries to literally pull the carpet underneath your legs and tries to completely remove you from your source of your inner power? Have you ever thought about it that way? I can tell you what it is. You think that you can heal him. You think that you can fix this, that you can rescue this person. You think that there's a special purpose in this relationship, and that you came to this world to help this person. Can you see the similarities? Can you see the parallels here? Guys, I'm not being judgmental, all right? I'm not trying to make any one of you feel bad. But quite frankly, if you want to get used to seeing truth, seeing things the way they are, you're going to have to look at things that way. I've been in many relationships like this. And yeah, we call those dysfunctional, toxic. Yeah, sure. But what is our part in it? How many times did I cry? Did I go into my own pain and, oh, why is it always me having to do this? Why am I the one that is always treated like shit? After all I've done for him. What's the payoff in that? The payoff is that I don't have to take responsibility. The payoff is that I can, lean back and say, oh, I'm so good, but nobody can see my goodness. Is this going to get you anywhere in your life? No, it is not. But do you have to go into the other extreme and go into like dog eat dog and overpower people and control them with your sheer willpower, with your sheer third chakra stuff? No. All you need to do is grow into your truth. And you will find your truth right there where you find your source of power. And actually, your truth is your power. And that is in your heart. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not just an energy healer. I'm also a business coach. I'm a mentor coach. I train other people to use these skills, to use energetic sensitivity, to negotiate contracts, to discern whether a business idea is a good and beneficial or integrous thing to go for. I help people to discern if a certain person matches a certain job description. There are so many applications for energetic sensitivity, but I can tell you one thing. Being treated as a doormat is your energetic sensitivity gone wrong. All right, so for this week, I really want to encourage you all to go into the expression of your truth. That's here, your throat chakra. I know, I've been talking about this for quite a while. And guess what? A lot of you people have issues in your throat. I do. And talking in front of an audience and coming out of the woodwork like this and expressing what I do here is not an easy thing to do. I'm not asking you to go do a live stream. What I'm asking you is to come out of the woodwork with who you truly are, the values that you stand for, the needs that you have, and the values that you have. Stand up for your integrity. Stop gossiping, you guys. gossiping is one of the most toxic things that you can do for your 5th chakra. And it really binds your truth. And by the way, this is also why so many of you are afraid of other people's judgments. Because of your judgment. Every time you say something negative or you badmouth another person, guess what? Your energy cannot discern whether that was directed towards another person or yourself. You're absorbing your own negativity right there. Every time you project something onto another person, congratulations. You just clogged up your own energy system. So I hope you forgive me for my bluntness here, and I know I get a lot of encouraging posts from people, you know, who are encouraging me, who are telling me that this is great. Oh man, and I've missed like so many questions. All right, so I'm gonna try to answer your questions here. Whoops. Oh gosh, I still haven't figured out how to use this. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. Here is a question. Oops. Gosh. Okay, some people agree, some people disagree. Yes, I've been saying this for years. Wonderful social disorder, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing this, that you can relate to some of the things that I say. Yes. Yes, it's somebody is commenting here, a mutual parasitic romance. You know, from a neutral standpoint, that I see that too. Parasitic is maybe a little judgmental, but what it really is, from an energetic level, is two people sucking energy from another. It's just that in times like this, the victim looks a lot better on the outside and gets a lot more validation. So, yeah. Okay, so thank you guys for paying attention. I really, really appreciate you coming here. I appreciate your support. I'm doing this without ads and everything. So yes, I am advertising my own services, obviously. I work more than 10 hours a day, and so those of you who work with me know this. And I went to college. I spent 20 years and money in training myself to be able to do what I'm doing here. So please understand that I'm not doing this because I'm such a special empath. You know, I'm doing this to help people and to be of service, but I'm also doing this to survive and to express myself in my highest potential, and that is to help people to navigate through these occurrences right now. Just one last thing, next week, make sure that you guys don't fall for some of the residues of big emotions. There's still some absolution seeking in the air, which means some of the people around you that maybe vented last week, they may feel like they need your validation, they need your absolution, or you may feel like you need absolution. Again, what you're looking for can only be found from within yourself. Okay? So tap yourself on the shoulder, say, it's okay, I'm working on all of that. I'm in the process of learning who I am. I'm in the process of refining the expression of my highest potential. All right? And cut yourself some slack. It's okay to vent sometimes. You know, then just go back to your loved ones and say, hey, I'm really sorry. And what I really meant to say was, you know, that I'm going through something right now. So don't beat yourself up when you find out that you have these secret payoffs and some of those victimizer things. Read the report that is coming out tomorrow. I'm going to explain a few things in a bit more detail there, and give me lots of likes, and watch my videos on YouTube and support me. I'm not monetizing those videos, so it's got to like somehow pay out. So my payoff is your guys' attention, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. transCODES is a place where we offer ways to learn how to do this, not just to do it for you. So we do all levels of energy work, all the way to etheric surgery, and we have a whole team of energy workers here doing that. But our main objective is really to teach you how to do this yourself. So check out transCODES at www.transcodes.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need a lot of support and encouragement right now to continue doing these videos. So please comment and give me likes and everything so that I see that it's actually being received. All right, so yes, thank you guys. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here. It's been wonderful, and thank you so much for your questions. Really, really good questions. All right, so see you next week.